Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back.
First in the building. AU is on deck. Shout out WCS from Detroit. Spence will be put to sleep this time. Say one more again. You know what I'm saying? Hey, first of all, you already know how I get down, man. Big shout out to the hottest MFing chat in the game. A-side. 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 A-side official. Yes, sir. We on deck this morning. Shout out to everyone that's in the building. The grind don't stop just because it's Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So get everything you want out your system on Sunday, man. Commit all the sins you want. Ask for forgiveness. And then go about your week like nothing ever happened. Don Vaughn on deck, man. What's good with it, Don? You know what I'm saying? Salute WCS. Salute to you, brother. Big blunts and boxing in the building, man. The GOAT is on deck. What's good with it, blunts? How you feeling? What's good? Come back. Salute to the hottest chat in the MFing game. You already know how we do it over here. You already know. Toby Bartlett in the building. Salute WCS in the chat. We're global, baby. We're global. Errol Spence, I'm going to be smoked by Bud Again tour. And another 40 days and 40 nights of hot grease. Man, talk to them, Toby. They don't understand, bro. Turn up the mic. They don't get it. That's why we have to keep on reminding them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Keep the grease hot. That's the only way you serve them. Carlos, that after church grease, WCS salute. We on deck. Yes, sir. Hey, for those of you that went to church this morning, God bless. You know what I'm saying? God bless everyone that's in the chat. Hopefully all is well so you can enter into this week and have a blessed one, a successful one. You know what I'm saying? That's how we going with it. You know what I'm saying? Be better than what you were yesterday. Well, only if you're aerosexuals who still keep on making up excuses. I don't know what they do in church. They must be on their phones trying to come up with more excuses. And we're going to get to that today. We're going to get to it. WJ Luckett in the building. Salute WCS. Bud about to give us another fish fry. Can you stand it? Man. I guess they didn't get enough the first time. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get enough the first time, man. Shout out to Christopher White. Salute, good morning, WCS. I double dare you. It is time to get the duck out the water. Time to suffocate. You know what I'm saying? Hey, ducks can be out of water. They're good. You know what I'm saying? They good out of water, but this fish, that fish is something different. That fish cannot sustain its health out of its element. And we seen that. Lit for life. What's good with it? I see you in the building. Salute to you. Streets on deck. I see you in the building, man. What's good with it? I am Cam Edwards, one half of the Apostles on deck. What's good? What's good? A-Side official. You already know what it is, Cam. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate you pulling up. Arnold Brown on deck. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. A-Side official, the hottest chat in the MFN game. Let's get right down to it, man. I'm pretty sure you've seen this tweet come out. And listen, this is exactly what we're talking about. Terrence put out haters don't even know why they hate at times. It becomes so natural to them, they can't even see or notice it. We've seen that with the aerosexuals. They hate so much and trying to find out, before the fight, it was all good just a week ago. Before the fight, it was all good. You know what I'm saying? Errol's going to do this. I see him being a tougher fighter. I see him pressing and breaking down Terrence Crawford. I see Terrence Crawford have never faced nobody like Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like when it comes down to it, resume to resume, even though Crawford has fought in more divisions, Errol Spence has fought the better opposition. Errol Spence has the better coach. Errol Spence is a stronger fighter. Errol Spence is the boogeyman. Errol Spence has been in there with some tough opposition and showed that he's durable. Errol Spence got the better chin. Errol Spence will break Bud Crawford. Errol would do everything he say he was. If he's the big fish, he's going to be the big fish July 29th. If he's the truth, he's going to make y'all believe that he's the truth. Strap season, of course he's getting that WBO title. Man, these aerosexuals, I swear to God, they were on their shit with making bum-ass excuses. I have to be on record as saying that the aerosexuals are the worst fans that's supporting the fighter in the community of boxing. They're the worst because I would respect y'all more if you just would have stood on all 10 instead of just being up here, skipping around, holding hands, playing hopscotch, patty cake, baker's mind. You know what I'm saying? Just doing some jump rope, some double dutch shit, running around the neighborhood of muck, acting goofy, and talking about, oh man, Bud Crawford don't have a chance. He just don't have a chance, y'all. He don't have a chance. He doesn't have a chance in hell to go ahead and beat Errol Spence Jr. So much of that shit to the point where they was believing it. They was fulfilling everyone's need and desires being on panels together. Let's go down the list. You know what I'm saying? One thing I can start off with is saying that Errol Spence himself didn't make an excuse. Well, not yet. You know what I'm saying? He's probably going to fight sometime next year. I don't believe that the people around him would recommend he go into the fight. It's such a close window in 2023. I don't find that to be healthy, right? But number one, making excuses for the fighter. You've seen nothing but aerosexuals. That's with 3 or 4 X's. Aerosexuals. Because in order for you to say that name, you have to understand how closely bonded they are to Spence to make excuses for him when he's not making excuses. That's all we heard. Time the fight was over. That is all we heard was aerosexuals out here making bum-ass excuses. You know the one that stuck out most to them that they was waiting to use? Too many months off. Ring rust. Isn't that what Errol Spence highlighted and said it didn't matter? He's been off longer when he fought Yordenis Ugas. He said that doesn't matter. I've been off longer. That's not a problem. I'm good. That's not a problem. He didn't make no excuses, right? And then when he was up there, right, he made it perfectly clear that he said he was from somewhere different where they don't make excuses. They just take it and keep it stepping. He made it perfectly clear, man. He put it out there. Hey, this is not something that I do. I'm not gonna make no excuses for my performance. You know what I'm saying? He's the better man. He got it done. But when it comes to the aerosexuals, they made too many excuses, and they said he had too many months off ring rust. Ring rust. Then you go to number 3. This was the easy reach out and grab and freaking really freaking molest the shit out this motherfucker. I'm saying they really raked this excuse. They raked the shit. It was just abusive. Weight drain too long at 147. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, right? Wasn't it the aerosexuals up here just last year? Let's just go back a year in 2022. How they were saying that Arrow did all the heavy lifting. Arrow is the man to beat. Arrow can beat everybody on Crawford's resume, and he's did that. And the common opponents don't matter because they was a shell of himself. Everything that they talked about, that he was good to go with picking up that WBA belt last year, April 16th. Nobody had nothing to say. They even took Yadinas Ugas and started putting him on the meme central. Everywhere you look, Ugas' eye and memes was coming up with what Errol Spence did to this man. They was praising the violence that was carried out on how Spence beat this man up. Hell yeah, they was happy. They was smiling from ear to ear, y'all. They was like, yeah, he beat his ass. He beat his ass. But when Errol Spence started to look like the next casting member for Freddy Krueger, you know what I'm saying? Freddy Krueger returns in Texas. Now all of a sudden he's weight drained. Too long at 147. He just didn't look him. He stayed too long. He was 154 pounder, 160 pounder. He should have moved on. He stayed there too long. Then they say he didn't spar for the final 6 weeks. So listen, I'm trying to find out, how did he drop the weight? Because anybody that's had a rib injury, those ribs are nothing to play with. How are you walking around here as if that's the truth without considering the fact that he had to continue to cut weight? How is he cutting weight? Somebody answer me that. How was he able to cut weight though? How is he able to work his core? Are we dealing with a bunch of elementary casual boxing fans? Or should we not even put them in elementary? Should we just put them as part-time boxing fans? You know what I'm saying? Temporaries of the sport. People who tune in every now and then keep it moving. How can we respect them enough to the fact that they believe a rib injury only prevents him from sparring? He didn't spar. Last time it was because he couldn't get hit in the eye. You know what I'm saying? His eye was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Heading to the Ugas fight, his eye was fucked up. So he didn't do that much sparring. But yet when he went in there and inflicted that damage on Ugas, it was okay. But how did he drop weight? How did he work his core? How? Was it in the fight that Crawford really didn't land no body shots? Was he protecting Errol himself? Did Crawford know that was a rib injury? Because that's why he didn't, none of his knockdowns was to the body. You know what I'm saying? Was that the case? Because I don't know how you can say he didn't spar for 6 weeks because of rib injury, but yet you can do core exercises. You can do exercises that where you have to get off the floor. You see what I'm saying? You have to base up from the floor and make it back to your feet, doing core strengthening exercises. So these idiots are not talking about that while they're up here making excuses, talking about, well, as you all know, he did not spar. I'm saying to myself, have you ever played athletics? Have you ever been in a type of physical sport when you have a rib injury, how crucial it is, how you can feel it every time you breathe and any subtle move you make? You know what I'm saying? They up here just thinking that rib injuries has to do with being touched in the ribs. Every other movement you make is good. What kind of ribs you got? For real, what are your ribs made out of? Laffy Taffy? What are they made out of? Silly string? Duct tape? You know what I'm saying? What are we talking about? Number 5, residual neurological damage. Do y'all remember when this fake ass doctor came out and these fools believed everything they wanted to hear? My wife was looking at the TV and she said, this dude is not even a neurologist. He's not even a neurologist. He doesn't even have a history of working with patients around the younger age group in their 30s, like Errol Spence. He hasn't even been on record as saying that he has had Errol Spence as a patient, because he has been on record as saying that he deals with older elderly patients and elderly patients who already had pre-existing, at that time, like dementia and stuff like that. He's coming off to be a caregiver. But they ran with this shit, y'all. They ran with this shit so fast into traffic. They were saying this doctor, who real name is not Dr. 805, it's just something they tagged him with, because he was called into the show and was supposed to be a steroid expert, a person who is very educated on performance enhancing drugs. So I'm saying to myself, how is that not a conflict of motherfucking interest? You know so much about performance enhancing drugs, but yet you're coming off as being a neurologist. The shit don't add up. You're coming here talking about the doctor shit just for views. And look, I'm gonna tell you, both of them motherfuckers was into that. The doctor and the guy that was hosting the channel, they was in that shit together. They tried to make it seem like it was the perfect time for them to come out in the moment of Terrence Crawford stopping Spence and take advantage of the momentum that was out there. Take advantage of the attention that was out there. So that's why he wanted to go out there and talk about his wife. His wife asked, "What's wrong with him?" Like, let's be honest. If your wife or girlfriend don't watch boxing, right, and they look at a TV, they're not gonna look at it with no vested interest. They just saying, okay, you looking at this fight for whatever reason, so they might come in there and watch the fight with you. It's according to how much they hate boxing. If they don't hate it 1,000,000%, you know what I'm saying? Then they may walk back and forth and then they sit down. When they sit their ass down, right? Who knows? I mean, who knows when they sat down? If they don't follow the sport like that, do they really know when the main event is? Do they know when the co-main event is? Do they know? Do they know who's fighting? No, they don't. They're not really paying attention. They can give a damn. But at this point in time, he said residual neurological damage, and then the aerosexuals just ran with it. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. Residual neurological damage. Yeah, that's why his eyes looked the way they did. That's what happened. Bud could not win, y'all. Let me get to the chat. Bud could not win. For real. He could not win just to go up there and have a fair entry into this fight. He could not do it. King 47, what's good? He said, was just on a Spence channel and they are going hard on Victor Conte cheating narrative. It will ramp up when Bud stops Spence again. Well, if you looked at my thumbnail, it's always has a message. Just look at it. Just look at what I put on there. I made sure that I put that snack right there front and center so everyone can see. You know what I'm saying? Because Victor Conte is allowed to have fighters, athletes on his program. Not only that, he was able to be given the access to be with VADA. You know what I'm saying? You know how they hire people like some of these hackers, right? These computer savvy individuals that their IQ is so high that the feds hire them to do their work. You know what I'm saying? So this is no different. Victor Conte, is hired on to pretty much put a limit to drug cheating. They get somebody up there with the knowledge and everything above and beyond, and he's able to give them knowledge of certain ways that fighters can get over on drug testing. You feel me? But also, it's just a perfect example that after he did his time, he was so smart that they wanted him to work for them. So if he's allowed to attach himself to fighters, then you can't turn around with a double jeopardy and say, yeah, we're going to allow you to have fighters and operate out here, but also we're going to attack the fighters that's on your program. That shit don't make no motherfucking sense. You allow the man access to be an entity with having boxers on his program, and he work with VADA, right? But yet and still you're going to attack his fighters? Nah, that's just not the way it's going down. So that's why I put that shit up there. I made sure I put the snack program up there, front and center. Number 6, too many concessions. In the meantime of listening to all the rhetoric, you did hear that Bud Crawford was moving in bad faith. You did hear that Bud Crawford was negotiating in bad faith, moving in bad faith and negotiating in bad faith. You know what I'm saying? It somewhat seemed like the same, right? But no, it wasn't, because he could do nothing right when it came to business. He wasn't a pay-per-view star. No one knew him. Spence was much more popular than he was. All that shit. All this was precipitating all over the place, just saturating. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere you go, you're walking in mud. You know what I'm saying? That's how they wanted it. They wanted to be muddy, messy, dirty, grimy, slimy. That's how they wanted it. So when it came to hearing that, all of a sudden the same guy you say that was negotiating in bad faith, he forced Errol Spence, who has the Al Heyman, support, into too many concessions. So being that he was in too many, he was forced into too many concessions, it has something to do with his performance. He went into the fight not mentally prepared because he gave up too many concessions to Bud Crawford. Too many. Everything went wrong with this fight prior to them stepping into the ring. Everything that you can possibly imagine, y'all. Everything. Look at this. When they seen that man sitting back there in the dressing room, him being Errol Spence, 28-0, undefeated. They say that man was super high on painkillers. You know what I'm saying? Narcotics. When they saw him. These are people that's not even qualified to make that assessment. They don't know what to look for. Half of their family members probably walk around like this on a regular basis and they don't tell them shit. I'm just being honest. They don't tell them shit. Hey, Harry, how you been? Jeff, JoJo, Half Paint. What's going on, man? How y'all been? Hi, auntie and uncle. Oh, okay. All right. All right, man. How you been doing? Seem like you healthy and everything, getting strong. Yeah, you look strong out here, man. What you doing? You got a new job or something? I mean, they be giving them compliments, but for Errol Spence Jr., you know what I'm saying? The guy who they was praising, for going in there, making Ugas' eye bleed for 40 days and 40 nights. He was super high on painkillers, y'all. Somehow, some way, this man was going to jeopardize the fight. Because Victor Conte said, what? They had strenuous drug testing. You know what I'm saying? But then they're going to turn around and say, Errol Spence was high on narcotics. So which one is it? Which one was it? Was he high off narcotics? And or it's just the way he was just relaxed and he was ready for the fight. You know what I'm saying? Which one was it? I'm saying we got to dial this in. Which one was it? Well, he's just relaxed and he was ready because he's been here before, because he's did all the heavy lifting. You know what I'm saying? Which one was it? Did y'all find a positive test for whatever narcotics you say he was on? Lies upon lies. Number 8, I love this for number 8. This is no special order, of course, because you have to understand, you don't need to put this in order, because every day they continue to talk about new and exciting rumors, excuses, bullshit. He said that not the real Spence in the ring, imposter. The excuses never stop, y'all. They said that that wasn't the real Errol Spence in the ring. It's no way in hell that that was the real Errol Spence, y'all. Any other time these fools can identify Spence, no matter where he at. If you see him on a video in a bad predicament and he say, do what, they can recognize that that was indeed Spence. You see where I'm going with this? They recognize that that was Spence. But Spence was starring in one of the most infamous TikTok videos ever. And you never fully seen his face. But they identified Errol Spence in that TikTok video as being that guy. That was indeed Errol Spence. They was just joking around. It was a TikTok video. But when it comes to him stepping in front of under the bright lights in the ring in one of the biggest fights of his career, all of a sudden, they cannot identify him. You know what I'm saying? They cannot identify this man. Hold on for a second. They can identify him. You know what I'm saying? That's not the real Spence in the ring. That's an imposter. I've never seen a bunch of people just basically commit to themselves and say, you know what? I'm going to stick to it. I don't care what people think about me. That is the great part about being in the boxing community. Some people that you see every day at your job or around you, they don't know you're a boxing fan. If they're not boxing fans, you're not going to really speak too much about boxing. So they don't know the double life that you live in. If they did, they would approach you at work and say, man, you know what? I was wrong about you, man. I actually thought you was a human being. You're a freaking slime ball. Why you say that, man? Man, I was listening to your shit, man. Somebody turned me on to your channel, and I started doing my research over the last several weeks. And I'm saying, man, you up here saying some real dumb shit, man. I thought you was a leader amongst men, but you up here just making up false ass stories. You know damn well that was Spence in the ring. It looked just like him, bro. All the telltale signs told you that was him, but you went out here and I'm listening to your live streams and you up here trying to convince the people that wasn't the real Spence. That was imposter. You know what I'm saying? That was a clone. That's some bullshit, y'all. Number 9, the grueling negotiations, y'all. At the end of the day, the grueling negotiations that Spence had to deal with added more stress while he was in camp. Spence himself said grueling. How can you have a grueling negotiation process when you are the man? Huh? When you're the man. How can you have grueling negotiations when you have Al Heyman on your side, on your team, on your squad, the one that y'all have praised so much? How can it be grueling? How? Because when we was going through this process in 2022, people were saying that what does who does Bud think he is? Who? He's not signed with PBC. How in the hell he think he can go over here and negotiate with the man himself, Al Heyman? Al don't owe this man nothing. He up here acting like he needs transparency. He don't need shit. Hey, take what they give you. You ain't shit as a fighter. You coming over here leaving Top Rank. Who gives a fuck? No one cares about you going over here with no promoter. That's your dumb ass fault. Man, they was criticizing the shit out of Bud heading over there. They were saying this man didn't need to see nothing on the books. If we talk about net pay on the back end, he didn't need a 0 ounce of transparency, y'all. He did not need anything. He called Arrow up. They was up there joking about a fire stick. You know what I'm saying? And then, supposedly he was talking about the hedge fund. And come to find out through his education, experience of going out here, attempting to negotiate without a promoter, he did learn something the second time around. And I even mentioned this when it went down 2022. I did, man. I don't get in the numbers, but I mentioned this shit. I said, if anybody's giving up that amount of money, you got to get them their money back. You have to give it to them back. But the whole argument is that Al Heyman said, why would you put a ceiling on it? You know what I'm saying? He don't want nobody else touching it. He didn't want nobody else touching it, but yet he couldn't offer him anything even close to that. You know what I'm saying? Where both fighters can get guarantee money. He couldn't do it. But that was so messy in itself, y'all. That was extremely messy. But in the end, Bud is on record as saying that he glad he didn't do it, because before anybody get paid, those investors have to get their money back. And somehow they get like a percentage of, whatever else the agreement would be. Like I said, I don't get into that, but it came down to grueling negotiations, y'all. That was a part of depleting Errol Spence's, energy level to go in there to training camp and continue to prepare himself for Bud Crawford, the man who was undeveloped, the man who had a trash resume, the man who no one respected his undisputed, birth at 140 pounds against Julius Ndongo. The man never did anything right in boxing. He couldn't make it as an Olympian. They praised Errol Spence for that. You know what I'm saying? Spike water. On top of grueling negotiations going through there and shit. You know what I'm saying? Being stressed the fuck out. Even though he had Al Heyman as his freaking advisor, manager, Lord, King, Savior. He had grueling negotiations. Then all of a sudden, the fight is made. It's official. People are now looking at what is playing out in front of them in the ring. We already had the narcotics. His eyes look droopy. He looks sleepy, tired, lethargic, fatigued. All this shit is popping up, y'all. Excuses after fucking excuses after fucking excuses. From the softest boxing fans in the motherfucking game. These are the aerosexuals. They said his water was spiked. Did you hear me? They said this man's water was spiked, y'all. They said his water was spiked. Huh? They said his water was spiked. There's no way that he can be on drugs and his water spiked. So I'm trying to figure out, did they put the drugs in the water, shake it up real good, and say, hey, take a sip of this right here? And then Errol looked at it, it's like, why is it so cloudy? What is this? Huh? What is this? Alka-Seltzer? What is this? Malanta? I ain't never seen no water look like that. That shit look cloudy. What is that, sugar water? I mean, even then it wouldn't look like that. What the fuck we doing? They said the man water was spiked. That's why he was, looking the way he did. They say that Errol Spence, the reason he was going through what he was going through, allegedly by his naysayers, was because Al Heyman was at the top of it all. He was orchestrating this whole deal because Errol Spence Jr. hired Adrian Clark to basically handle his part of negotiations after Spence found out that he was losing millions. And Al Heyman was orchestrating this coup to take down Errol Spence Jr., y'all. Not the famed advisor manager, not the one and only Al Heyman, man. Now they was trying to point the finger and say it was conspiracy orchestrated by the one and only Al Heyman to basically hand Spence his first loss because of what he did in negotiations, the negotiations that was considered grueling. This was grueling negotiations. It's wild. The excuses never stop. Once that fight started to take place, we seen Spence walk to the ring with the supposedly what the aerosexuals was looking at as droopy eyes. He looked slow. He looked sleepy, but he made his ass to the ring. I didn't see anybody escorting up them steps. You know what I'm saying? He made it up the steps, got in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Referee's instructions. And goddamn it, you know what I'm saying? The fight commenced, and he looked very sharp in the first round. He looked very sharp. I'm looking at live stream, you know what I'm saying? Reactions immediately. I'm looking at the live streams and shit, and I'm not seeing, and look, I'm not hearing no one say some shit like Errol Spence looked sleepy and lethargic when this fight was in the first round. I didn't hear nobody talking about he looked weight drained. How can you be weight drained from the second round to the ninth round? Why wouldn't you not be weight drained in the first round? He looked strong. He looked sharp. He looked like he was on his motherfucking square in the first round. Didn't he? Errol Spence looked like he was ready to go in there and break that man like Conta. You know what I'm saying? Like Conta. Conta. He wanted to break him like Conta. That's what he said, y'all. I'm going to break that man like Conta. That's what he said. Did he not think there might be more motivation for Terrence Crawford and pretty much saying that you're going to treat this man like a slave? Are the aerosexuals missing out how a person can become extremely motivated based off the ridicule that is being filtered in their direction? The ridicule and aspersions that they are injecting into someone's space. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to blacks. Do you not think a black man saying he's gonna break him like Kunta wouldn't give him an extra needed level of motivation? Real talk. Do you not believe that's the case? Yes, highly the case. It can be pretty much the case, man. But he said that was pretty much where we was at. You know what I'm saying? The peds and steroids. Errol Spence will have to go up against a fighter that he was going to break like Kunta. Because all of a sudden, from the second round to the stoppage, his opposition, Errol Spence's opposition, who was Bud Crawford, was on steroids. He was on peds. They was making all these steep, stinging accusations. I'm talking about very, very damning accusations that Bud Crawford would be identified and accused for the first time in his career of being on steroids, y'all, being a drug cheat. Come on now. This would be the opportunity that's supposed to be the biggest fight of his career. And in the first round, no one was saying this shit. They said, oh man, Spence looked good. Spence looked good. Yeah. We think Spence gonna stop this fight around 9th to 10th. Around the 9th to 10th round, he gonna get Crawford up out of there because Crawford's chinny. Crawford's too small, light in the ass. So what Crawford had to do to balance that out in the minds of the aerosexuals was get on the juice. That's what he needed to do. He needed to get on the juice, y'all. He needed to get on the juice. And while he's on the juice, right, he needs to link up with Victor Conte. That's what they were saying. He became a part of the snack program, not just on the Errol Spence fight, but he was already a part of the snack program prior to the Spence fight. But he couldn't get no credit because all those opposition, those two oppositions, so to speak, or whatever he got on the snack program, you know what I'm saying? He never performed like that before. See, when Errol Spence went to the 11th round with Kell Brook, They gave Errol Spence, I'm talking about the credit that they gave that man was in the stars. Like they gave this man, they said, oh man, he went in Kell Brook's backyard and he beat that man. He stopped him in the 11th round. He's a beast. And Kell Brook had just came down from fighting Gennady Golovkin. He had that 160-pound middleweight experience, y'all. He was a big, strong welterweight. Big, strong welterweight, y'all. Big, strong welterweight. They gave him credit like no other. You couldn't take anything away from him. But when Crawford stopped him in 4 rounds, it's because Kell Brook wasn't the same fighter after he stepped in the ring with Errol Spence. Even though Kell Brook just contended 1 division higher with 3-0, went 3-0, and to drop back down there and fight Crawford and was stopped in the 4th round. He gets no credit. He gets no credit for that knockout. No one was mentioning the snack program then. No one was mentioning PEDs on Kell Brook. I would think that would be the opportune time to mention the PED situation because Errol Spence stopped that man in the 11th round, but Bud Crawford stopped him in 4. How is that possible? Oh, my fault. Now it all comes into play. You have fools around other fools. So you're going to get like-minded results because one fool to the next fool, they don't know the difference. So no matter what the conversation's about, it can be the dumbest shit ever when I'm listening in, but to a fool, to another fool, to another fool next to that fool, they can't tell the difference. So they was up here saying that Bud Crawford ain't fought nobody in his fucking career. He ain't fought no motherfucking body. So they was downplaying that shit. They said, oh man, Kell Brook, man, he was a shell of himself. He wasn't shit. We ain't gonna give him no, man, that ain't okay. It ain't nothing hard about that, man. Goddamn, Crawford did what he had to do. I mean, it is what it is, man. He was never the same after he fought Spence. Never the same. They didn't mention shit about Triple G. It was all about him not being the same after he fought Spence. Okay, cool. He gets no credit. Then all of a sudden, he goes in there and he stops Sean Porter. Supposedly he was behind on the official scorecards, right? He stops Sean Porter in the 10th round. They take that away because you already know Daddy came in there and talked about he knew in training and all this other bullshit he was talking. But Sean Porter's came clean on that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So the aerosexuals then go back online and give an apology for being a part of the bullshit. They just wanted to go along with it and keep it moving to the next topic. You know what I'm saying? The next act of nefarious freaking bias commentary and narratives being pushed out here in the YTC. They didn't care. So he stopped Sean Porter. Nobody was talking about steroids. Nobody. So he goes from 2021 to 2022. Negotiations fall out. He goes in there and fight David Avenesian. Once again, they're looking at Crawford as a garbage, trash-ass fighter. The love of it all is the fact that he was able to be on the radar, but he wasn't on the radar. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have someone on the radar like Crawford, but you don't consider them a threat. That's how the aerosexuals looked at it. They seen Crawford on the radar, but they didn't consider him a threat. They say, hey, we see him. We just waiting on Errol Spence to go ahead and get this WBA title, and then it's going to be what it be. In the meantime, negotiations taking place after he completes that, and it doesn't work out. Everybody thinks they're at the tables talking about percentages and what Crawford should and shouldn't get. He goes in and knocks out Avenesian, and they once again they have him on the radar. They don't give a damn about to treat him as a threat. Oh man, Avenesian, he ain't shit. Man, whatever, man. Like that, he was supposed to do that. So you got Sean Porter stoppage, you got Avenesian. Nobody cared. You know what I'm saying? They said, okay, Igis Kavalaxis, which is a common opponent of Crawford's, has already stopped Avenesian in the 6th round. So the only thing they're trying to figure out is the fight going to go past the 6th round, y'all. and it didn't. He stopped him. But he did this as a snack fighter. He did it as a snack fighter. He supposedly did all this shit while he was on some type of performance enhancing drugs and supplements. All of a sudden, there's a undefeated fighter who hasn't taken no L's, but yet now the aerosexual's running around like he has some extra needed ingredients in his system to beat Avanesian. Not just any Avanesian, but an Avanesian that he went and looked for. So why would he go look for a fighter that's going to give him one of his toughest fights as a no-name? Who does that dumbass shit, aerosexuals? You're trying to go get a tough opponent when you're supposed to be on juice and snack. So why wouldn't you want to go out here and just get a tough opponent to see if the supplements truly work? I don't know. That may be too much sense right now as a snack fighter. You know what I'm saying? Using that type of hypothetical. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If you're on the program and you got this big fight coming up with Spence, why would you need to go out here and get on juice to fight a C-level, as they was calling them, C-level fighter in Avanesian, just to put another win on that? Why? And you already on the juice and you on snack. I get it. I get it. Another telltale sign that the aerosexuals in dire need. They say he ate and smoked Mike Tyson's care package. As you all watch Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, Errol Spence was on there, and Tyson gave him a package at the end of the podcast. And we don't know what was in it. He just basically said, it's some slow burning stuff over here and this and that. And Spence, that's after Spence was trying to check Mike Tyson, talking about, I'm not gonna get into it. It's not even worth me going through it. That's not even what the motherfucking live is about. But anyway, supposedly they were saying that man took that box and he had smoked or ate the edibles that was in that care package, courtesy of Iron Mike Tyson, the legend himself. He's gonna attempt, because he has Terrence Crawford winning. So the dumbest part about it with the aerosexual is that they was actually pushing this narrative that Errol Spence would actually partake in a care package that Mike Tyson gave him when he's actually picking Terrence Crawford to win. Oh my God, I can't make this shit up, bro. I'm trying to pull up the damn records to see if these cats was in special ed. I'm telling you, man, I did my due diligence. I made phone calls. I said there has to be some yellow bus files, some short bus files out there on these cats, man. Because why would you do that? Why would Errol Spence partake in Mike Tyson's care package and not have any type of reservation about being sabotaged? You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson is going for Terrence Crawford. You attempted to check him on that. But yet, after it was all said and done, he ate some edibles out of Mike Tyson's care package. It don't make any sense. It's stupid as hell. Next one, the victim of loaded gloves. This came as a heavy front runner because along with the juice, oh my God, we're not talking about Tropicana, but I love using Tropicana. They say, goddamn, Terrence Crawford was on that Tropicana, y'all. Not only was he on the Tropicana, but he had some vitamins, herbs from the snack program to help him with that Tropicana. Not only that, that wasn't enough, y'all. Up to that point, Crawford was 39-0, y'all. No draws. 39-0, already formally undisputed, right? Right? They said Crawford, being a snack athlete, right, on that Tropicana, that wasn't enough. He didn't have confidence in himself. So therefore, he had to do what? While he was wrapping his own hands, he had to load his gloves We're excluding everything that goes on with the supervisors and commissions and everybody that has to be there to witness the gloves being put on. All of a sudden, this man needs to go talk to Antonio Margarito and say, "Hey, ¿qué pasó? Do you have some of that, plaster of Paris that you was using before you fought Shane Mosley? Can you give me a step by step on how to do it? I'm right now. The cameras are rolling. Don't nobody hear you. Don't nobody hear you. I just want you to tell me how do I mix it again? Okay. So when I'm wrapping my hands, do I just lay it on the knuckle area while it's wet? Oh, okay. Oh, after you got caught, they changed it that it can be seen. If it bleeds through my wraps, it's okay. Just don't take my gloves off after the fight. All right, got it. So he got the full instructions from Antonio Margarito about the plaster of Paris. Now he has loaded gloves. They said this man had some of the best, finest stones in there, mixed in with the plaster of Paris. All this under the watchful eye of the commission. He loaded his gloves with the Kevlar material that all military use going into combat to basically go in there and prevent armor piercing rounds from killing, our service members. Yes, he had that type of material in his gloves. They say Errol Spence was a victim of loaded gloves. Terrence Crawford was on Tropicana, part of the track snack program, and also he had to load his gloves. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. These are excuses that these aerosexuals are using, y'all. They say he looked extremely sleepy. That would tie back into the narcotics and PEDs, but not so much because it was like a wishbone, like it was two sides. They said it was pain meds over here, but yet they said it was Mike Tyson's edibles. On the way to the arena, it was said that Errol Spence was smoked out, hotboxing in his vehicle, in the Sprinter van. They were smoking it up before they came into the arena. That's the word that was out there, y'all. They were smoking it up. People couldn't even breathe. If you didn't smoke, you wouldn't want to be in that motherfucking Sprinter van. You wouldn't want to be in there. They say he was smoking, and Errol Spence, that's why he looked sleepy. So I don't know if it was because of narcotics. I don't know if it was because of the weed. I don't know if it's because of the edibles. He was eating, sleeping, and goddamn shooting. I don't know what the fuck to believe. They say something was wrong with Spence. Taking this into consideration, y'all, that he's in there with an elite level fighter, a fighter that's in front of him on the pound for pound list. The aerosexuals just pretty much was in denial, y'all. They said that wasn't the Errol Spence. Something was wrong. I'm saying to myself, I agree. I do agree. Something was wrong, especially when Crawford started to put those hands on him. When Crawford started to put them paws on him, he did look like something was wrong. Am I right or wrong? He started to touch Spence with those punches, and it did look like something was wrong. He did. They take the damage that Crawford was inflicting, and then they tie that in with the car crash. The reason why Crawford was able to land as many punches as he did early on, which was basically a 2-1 combination, right? It wasn't anything that bad. Like I said, the first round, they was praising the shit out of Spence. They said, oh man, this fight ain't lasting long for Crawford. He's in trouble. Spence looks sharp. And then the second round came around. You start the car crash. You see the car crash coming up. I see the car crash. I see remnants of the car crash. Did you see it? When he got hit with that right hand and he sat down. You see how he sat down? Spence ain't never sat down like that. I've seen him, at a full-blown, crab buffet. He didn't sit in the seat like that. He just didn't flop down in the seat when he was eating those smothered crab legs at the all-you-can-eat buffet. That's not him. That's not him. Something was wrong with him. That was the car crash right there. That equilibrium one. That wasn't him. I ain't never seen him sit down like that, just flop down on the floor. No, man, that wasn't him. They were saying that the car crash damage was a reason that he was knocked down so early, y'all. Now it was all coming to light. Residual neurological damage, his balance, the car crash, all of that was a non-factor just a week ago prior to the fight. No one was giving a damn about that. They were just saying, "Oh man, we just can't wait to Spence get, his pictures out here." They start seeing the all access come out, and people was getting hyped up. The aerosexuals was feeling good. Yeah, hey, I see this fight ending 9 or 10, even 8. I see it ending in 8th round. I don't see Crawford having enough for him. No, I don't see it. Hell no. This is it for Crawford. You know what I'm saying? It's it. This is over. You know what I'm saying? Just like Derrick James said, when it was brought to his attention that Crawford had 10 straight knockouts. He said, man, he ain't fought nobody. Yeah, they actually believed that. The aerosexuals believed it. Man, they was on one of those bandwagons, boy. They had to know it only had 3 wheels on that bitch. You know what I'm saying? They had to understand there was a reason why that horse was looking the way it was looking. You know what I'm saying? It was all broke down, gimp. You know what I'm saying? It was a reason why the ride was rough. I get it. Listen to this. The grand conspiracy theory. That's when you pretty much heard about Al Heyman trying to sabotage Spence, right? They said Crawford was a part of the Illuminati. So being that Spence wasn't, he was the sacrifice in that. You know what I'm saying? He was the sacrifice because Crawford was part of the Illuminati. They was up actually up here talking about per the conspiracy, Errol Spence did not follow the rules and guidelines handed down by Sir Heyman. So he was being punished in the ring by Crawford because Al Heyman chose to jump rope over Errol Spence, and now his golden child was Crawford. They was pretty much saying the grand conspiracy is that Al Heyman sacrificed Spence because he always knew that Crawford was the better fighter. This was when they were saying that Al Heyman had a lot to do with this and he the one made the fight happen and all that. This is prior to finding out Showtime was actually the financiers of this fight. You know what I'm saying? This was the aerosexual was talking about. The grand conspiracy of Al Heyman to break down Errol Spence Jr. by lending all the support to Terrence Crawford. But the crazy part about it is kind of contradicting because on the other hand, they were saying that Al Heyman didn't agree. And Errol Spence even said this himself. Al Heyman did not agree to the concessions that he was giving Crawford. So I don't know what the aerosexuals are talking about. They're not on the same accord. I swear. I think their coordination is off. Starting with what's above their shoulders. That coordination right there is pretty fucked up. Real talk. They say Errol Spence wasn't himself, y'all. Errol Spence wasn't himself. I know. I agree. He wasn't himself. When that beating started to commence, I was saying to myself, I was right about one thing. Whoever that trainer was that had him on the ground doing all those belly down freaking exercises, that's to get him strengthened and get him strong enough to get off the canvas. And goddamn it, was I right. Goddamn it, Errol Spence, he spent off that motherfucking canvas from the first knockdown. I said, oh shit. Damn. They need to put him in gymnastics. He got potential. You know what I'm saying? Even at 33 years old, he has potential. I don't know if he'd make Olympic berth, but he got off that canvas pretty good. And I was like, okay, cool. But the aerosexual said that Spence wasn't himself due to the damage that was being inflicted by Crawford. Once again, their mindset is that they can't believe they don't give Crawford credit for being as great as he was heading into that fight. He was on the radar, but the threat level was minimal, y'all. Crawford's threat level was minimal. We see him, but we're not concerned. See, that's the aerosexuals mentality. We see him, but we're not concerned. He's no danger to us. We see him, but he's no concern. Okay. Spence was a handicapped man, y'all. They say Errol Spence was a handicapped man in the ring. Was he handicapped, or did Crawford just make him look like he was handicapped? Because he sure enough made it to the 9th round now. Oh, my bad. Once again, they're talking about that Spence was a handicap because they did not, or they were not able to see certain attributes that Spence was supposedly in possession of prior to stepping in the ring with an undeveloped fighter like Terrence Bud Crawford. That's what that was. They said Errol Spence was supposed to go in there and annihilate a fighter who hasn't fought nobody in his entire career. You know what I'm saying? He was on record as agreeing with his coach. The initial argument at the first presser was, man, you ain't fought nobody, man. You ain't fought nobody. That's what he was saying. You ain't fought nobody. So Crawford had to endure that. Hey, he ain't fought nobody shit. And then there was people that was in the audience laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, come on, man, you ain't fought nobody. It was giggles and chuckles and shit. And I know as a human being, not just a fighter for Crawford, as a human being, you look at that and say, damn, these niggas laughing at me. These niggas laughing at me, dog. He had to take that shit too and say, damn, these motherfuckers laughing at me. Spence actually believed I have not fought nobody in my career. I have 8 undefeated fighters on my motherfucking ledger. And he's saying, no, you ain't fought nobody. And look, we're not even really dipping outside the 147-pound division. Everybody that he fought at 147 pounds did not pique the respect of the collective boxing community. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about aerosexuals at the end of the day. They didn't believe that nobody he's fought at the welterweight division was good enough for them to give praise to. Even if they had an O on their record, they didn't care. Even if Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao, they didn't care. Even though Errol Spence, they was hyping it up for him to face the same Pacquiao who lost to Jeff Horn, but who beat Keith Thurman. Even though when he beat Keith Thurman, it was a more recent fight than when he lost to Jeff Horn. But yet and still, they refused to give Crawford credit for how he delegated that ass whooping. Can y'all explain to me why this is so difficult? Oh, he was a handicapped man. That's right. That's right. Terrence Crawford juiced up, Tropicana, snack, loaded gloves, conspiracy theory with Al Heyman. I swear to God. And then a grueling negotiation when it comes down to it. Spence really went through a lot. Maybe he was mentally handicapped. Maybe the load that he was going through with his mindset was that, man, I pretty much co-signed this facade instead of just keeping it real. See, like WCS was looking at it like, if Errol Spence would have kept it real, like he did with the no excuses, if he would have kept it real while they was going through the presser up to the fight, then it would have been a different level of respect. But since he was pretty much making excuses and downplaying Crawford, talking about he ain't fought nobody, you know what I'm saying? He was going to break him like Kunta. Then he had to really live up to it. You know what I'm saying? You had to live up to it. But like I said before, he don't reach out to his fans like that. He don't care what his fans are talking about. They can get on here and say he was handicapped. Regardless of him not saying he was handicapped, they're going to get on here and say that man was a handicapped man. What made him handicapped? The adversary that was in front of him that was disrupting his rhythm and disallowing him to basically present what his fans was used to seeing? Is that the handicap? When you have somebody that's mentally breaking you down in front of millions and you can't do shit about it. I get it. Spence legs was gone. Never entered the ring, y'all. We have a legless Spence that was in there. This is the first time that two fighters have been approved for a commission to fight, y'all, in an undisputed fight. Two champions. And one of them coming to the ring legless. He didn't have his legs, y'all. They say Spence legs was gone. Gone. Poof. I didn't see David Blaine or David Copperfield in the building. I didn't see the two Davids doing tricks. I thought maybe one of them had just went through the stream and said, let's do something we ain't never did before. Let's make Spence legs disappear. We can do it, David. Okay, David. Who's going to go first? You, David. No, you go first, David. No, you go first, David. No, you, David. They was up there arguing on who was going to make his legs disappear. They had to wait till he walked to the ring with M. And they really had to say, you know what I'm saying? This is the perfect time. They was going to send Errol Spence into the ring without legs, y'all. He did not look the same. He didn't have no legs. He did not look the same. This is excuses from the aerosexuals, y'all. Errol Spence did not look the same. Now, what part of the fight, what region of the fight did he not look the same? Was it the first round or was it between the range of 2nd to 9th? What part was the 7th? Was the 5th round? What part of the fight did he not? He did not look the same. And also, aerosexuals, what are you comparing the look to? What fight are you comparing Errol Spence not looking the same? Which fight are you going to gauge that from? Which juxtapose are you going to provide us with? What fight outside of Crawford? Which fight are you lining this up with? That's all I want to say. Period. They say this man had no reflexes, y'all. See, Spence was handicapped. Spence's legs was gone. They never entered the ring with him. He did not look the same. No reflexes, y'all. Look, this is all based off of conspiracy theory of him being juiced on snack and loaded gloves, y'all. His adversary, I'm talking about his adversary. His adversary is partially to blame for him being in the state for which he is. You know what I'm saying? Even though his adversary, Bud Crawford, wasn't in the passenger seat with the top back when he had that accident, but yet somehow both fighters being approved to fight, Crawford brought back the residual neurological damage. Crawford made this man handicapped. Crawford took this man's legs away. Crawford made this man look different than what his fans had ever seen him before. Crawford made him have no reflexes. That is a lot of freaking excuses, dog. Let me get over here to the chat, man, because that's just too much to deal with. That's just too much, man. When you consolidate all that info and intel together, it really make you understand, like, damn, these aerosexuals, man, they need their own daycare system. For real. Obama, if you can come back one more term, I need to talk to you about some health care strictly for the aerosexuals. I'm talking about out there, area 58 or 59. Put them in their own location, away from civilization. You know what I'm saying? So we can get them some rehabilitation. That's what I want to speak to Obama about. For real. We got to get them out of society into a facility that they can get help. For real. You got to peep that screenshot I sent. Big Bunts. Didn't he hire a nutritionist? Okay. Good point, Tyrese. Good point. Tyrese asked a very, very great question. And the reason why it's great is that you asking for Errol Spence, right? Because it's been on record that they praised him from hiring nutritionists. Supposedly, Errol Spence had the same nutritionists that who? Gervonta Tank Davis had. Isn't that true? He had the same nutritionist that Javante Davis had. Am I lying? He hired the same nutritionist. So you trying to tell me the nutritionist wasn't good enough? I'll take that back, Tyrese. He had a rib injury. So when his nutritionist was making him them avocado burgers, he had to pick him up and the rib injury. You know what I'm saying? Look, when I seen him on All Access, right? You notice how he never really favored anything dealing with his rib. So I guess that nutrition, that nutrition was on point. I guess the only way that he was able to cut weight was from his nutritionist. You know what I'm saying? So when Crawford, he's not known for cutting weight like that. He's known for coming in missing the scales and dropping titles on the scales. Yeah, he's known for that. So with Crawford, he had to get on the snack program. He had to be on that Tropicana, and he had to go into the ring with loaded gloves. I get it. But Spence, he had that ultimate nutritionist now, the same one Javante Davis had. And it wasn't enough. This is such an entertaining month with the endless tears flowing from the aerosexual, the same aerosexual who said Bud had no chance to beat Arrow. No chance, man. Now those fans are scrambling for a new savior. Nah, look, they when you listen to the information that they was putting out, right? And you was hearing them say what they were saying about Bud Crawford over and over and over again. And I kept on putting out those live streams. I'm saying, listen, if y'all such aerosexuals and y'all support Spence, why don't y'all talk about him more? You know what I'm saying? And do live streams where he can be on the thumbnail, put him out there. They didn't. They was disconnected. They was more so invested in Terrence Crawford. And then when this whole situation, like the 2 weeks remaining before the fight, now they start to become bandwagon riders again. Aerosexuals start to put on their damn uniform and go out here for full-time work. You know what I'm saying? To sit up here and act like they've been on the bandwagon the entire time. But the only fighter they talked about was Crawford. They never really dedicated their interest, man, to building up Errol Spence for this fight. They didn't. It's just unfortunate, man. King 47 prepared for so many excuses in the rematch. These guys would never give Bud credit. See, the one thing about I found out, the one thing about what I definitely found out about Bud is that if you don't give him credit, he's gonna take it one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? In this particular scenario, it deals with a contact sport, a full contact sport, the hurt business. So if he's saying that you didn't get the picture the first time when y'all was saying all that shit about me, right? They ain't fault nobody. My resume is trash. I'm chinny. Gamboa hurt me. If you didn't get the picture I sent to you all when I went in there and stopped your mans in the 9th round, then you're dumber than I thought. Because if you thought that was something, and what they saying he didn't have legs and all this other stuff, then you can only imagine what I'm going to do in the rematch. You know what I'm saying? You can only imagine what I'm going to do in the rematch. Dr. 805 going to phone in and be an expert bullshit next week. Hey, he ain't been back on the scene, dog, because people was calling him out. Even other doctors was calling him out. He said, you're right. Everything went wrong in this fight. Even before the fight, he lost the coin flip. He did. Nothing went right, bro. Nothing went right. Nothing. Jessica, what's good? Salute WCS in the chat. Salute to you. One love, man. They seem to forget that Victor Conte and Vada have caught more dirty fighters in their time in boxing compared to USADA, who's been known to be corrupt. Hey, man, this is point blank focused on the snack program. Who allowed permission for him to be an active presence with these athletes? Who allowed him to be a part of VADA? There were permission slips, right, Carlos? So since he was able to get a hold of these permission slips and sign, and you know, for freaking VADA to sign on to have him a part of their program, and no one's not sitting up here petitioning. Why? Because boxing is not a regulated sport. So who's going to have something to say? Who's the president? Who's the governing body? Who's the one that's over everything? It's a non-regulated sport. So boxing continue to show you that whenever they want to make moves such as this, they can. So if they want to hire on Victor Conte's expertise, that's exactly what we're watching right now. And the wild part about it is that he's selling his product out there to the world. You can purchase his product. Is it something we're missing? Real. Is it something we're missing? He's able to sell his product to athletes, to regular civilians, and regular people in society. And he's not being reprimanded for having anything that would be considered against the guidelines or the banned substance list in boxing. And per the voluntary anti-doping agency. Hey, is it a conspiracy? Somebody better get Al Heyman on that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody better get Al Heyman on that shit. That wasn't Arrow in the ring. It was his brother, Eric. So he has a brother, Eric. Hey, maybe it's a twin, because you hear Adrian Broner always talking about twin, but no one really even sees the dude. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's freaking parlay, And god damn, man, these folks going bad over this Spence loss. It's not even bad no more, man. It's like, you got to think to yourself, Jessica, is it something out there that can be medically qualified to handle this situation? Is there a program out there for these aerosexuals to be corralled and put into this program, this facility, locked down and rehabilitated by force? Because they're delirious out here. You know what I'm saying? I did, before this fight even happened, I go over this several times on how I did a live stream on schizophrenia and freaking mental health, and how I believe there's individuals up here that's not mentally stable. You know what I'm saying? They're not mentally stable because you're talking about your everyday life. You're allowing this YTC shit to bleed into your everyday life. You're basically taking on full commitment to criticize another human being that is a living person. He's a real person. And you want to say all these bad things about him. He's a cheater. Talk about his family. You know what I'm saying? All that shit, man. Shout out to my guy Trick Noti, the Oracle, in the building, man. WCS, what's good this morning? Now, this is what I heard behind the scenes. He was smoking weed with Jamel Charlo the night before the fight. He ate some stuff Mike Tyson gave him. Damn. So you have all those excuses, you know what I'm saying, collectively, that the aerosexuals are going to take this screenshot and they're going to say, see, I told you. Trick, no. Trick, no. hey, Trick. They're going to say, see, Trick, I knew you was a good dude, man. I knew you was good, man. You mind coming on the panel and talking about what you left over there? Because we screenshotted your comment. Hey, just come on the panel, Trick. That's all we need, man. Just come on the panel for a little bit. Shout out to Robert on deck. What's good? I could care less what it is. I could care less what it is. Me hurrying up and getting these freaking shit done. It's good that you are a freaking expert of all the information that I put up here and spoken about since the live started over an hour and a half ago. You said it spiked. Did you get the interpretation? And why aren't you somewhere in the hierarchy of life as the top 1% of some of the smartest people in life? and you sitting on here correcting somebody. Oh, it's spiked. I just wanted to drop by and let you know, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I just want to correct people. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just different in life. I'm different. You know what I'm saying? I live paycheck to paycheck, but I'm just different. You know what I'm saying? I'm an aerosexual too. At the end of the day, I love correcting you Bud fans. Yeah, for real. And I got you. I got you. I found out you made a mistake, buddy. And get out of here. Aerosexuals are secretly mad with their king because just as they thought the heat was dying down, their king activated the rematch, and now the heat is coming up and up. Hey man, let them burn. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna burn. They're gonna cook in this hot grease there, Toby. Let them burn, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because one way or the other, they're gonna learn one way or the other. They're gonna learn. I know for a fact he had no broken ribs. Hey, absolutely, Trick. I know for a fact that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know what plug that the Oracle have to retrieve that information. You know what I'm saying? They don't know that you have the lifelines to reach out to these people. You know what I'm saying? That is indeed a fact. And that's from people that was in Texas. So I can definitely co-sign that, with Trick saying he know that for a fact because he spoke to, the people that's close to the situation. That's a fact. So Trick, hey, they gonna come hitting you up in the DMs. Hey, Trick, we need you on the panel, Trick. Get on the panel, Trick. Explain yourself, man. Explain yourself, Trick. What do you get this? Who your contact? Let's screenshot your contact. We need proof. Screenshot your contact right now. Jamal Neezy on deck. What's good, man? No, man. Arrow last because he stepped right foot first instead of left foot. Damn, dog. That is stupid as hell, dog. Damn. He said Arrow lost because he stepped right foot first instead of freaking left foot. Damn, dog. But see, the reality, he should have stepped right foot first. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that what Southpaws do? They step right foot first. You know what I'm saying? Don't they step right foot first though? Because that was the whole deal going into this fight, that he was the best southpaw in boxing. Couldn't nobody break that down. He's the best southpaw in boxing, y'all. So let's keep it moving on number 25. Coordination wasn't there, y'all. The coordination wasn't there. His coordination, for many reasons, his coordination wasn't there when he was facing Crawford. His coordination wasn't there. That was a clone. That was a clone, y'all. His coordination wasn't there. And even though if they're going to clone somebody, why did they leave out coordination, though? If they didn't leave out coordination, this should only enhance Terrence Crawford's freaking plausible performance, because he was able to make this guy look like he wasn't the real guy that Crawford was supposed to be fighting on that night. So he beat him up so bad, they're saying this was a clone. They said it didn't look like the same, not normal Spence. That wasn't a normal Spence, y'all. This guy Crawford has so much power that he's able to transform elite fighters. He's able to transform them out of their normal state. How is he able to compete amongst mortal human beings? That's just not right. Somebody need to check into that. They say that Spence looked nauseated. Spence looked nauseated. Let me just take a minute to see what that means. He looked nauseated. Because I remember Harvey Doc. Harvey Doc was on record as saying that Spence looked just perfectly fine to him. He's not a doctor. His name is Harvey Doc, not Harvey Doctor. You know what I'm saying? Not Harvey Doctor. It's Harvey Doc. You know what I'm saying? And he's one of the best referees in the game. So he made it perfectly clear on record that Spence did not look any way, shape, or look different or look impaired to him. No timing. They said that Spence had no timing. Well, I seen him land some powerful shots now. I seen him land a good, couple of left hands. You know what I'm saying? He did some good, sharp, powerful left hands. And he landed some right hands, and he even landed some shots that hit Bud Crawford flush. So at that point in time, when I seen those shots land from Spence, I was like, is Crawford a shell of himself? Are they going to say Crawford a shell of himself? If he drops, Crawford didn't drop. So what did they say? Oh, man, he hit Crawford. Man, that was harder than what Gamboa hit him with, dog. There's no way he should have stood up to that. Nah, man, Spence a shell of himself now. They look, if Crawford would have went down from them shot, they would have brought up Gamboa. They would have brought up Igor Kavalowski. They would have brought up Errol Spence as being the better fighter. And look, even in a losing effort, they would have said that Errol Spence is indeed that guy. He exposed Crawford because Crawford fought mediocre competition, and he's really a shell of himself. But that punch didn't drop Crawford. Then they result back and say, you know what? Errol Spence is a shell of himself. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence is a shell of himself, bro. I appreciate that, Blunts. He did look fine, to me walking in there. You know what I'm saying? He looked fine to me. Real talk. He looked great to me walking up in there. Seriously. He didn't look bad at all, man. He looked great. For real. He did not look like he was bad at all. But anyway, definitely have to get that up here sooner or later. But per the timeline of excuses, let's get back to the groove. They say Errol Spence was a shell of himself. So I'm saying, like, what brought you to that conclusion that he's a shell of himself when he's in there with the fighter that's supposed to be the best opposition he ever faced in boxing? How can he be a shell of himself, bro? Heading into this fight, y'all was saying, oh, man, he's going to break that, man. He's going to stop Crawford. Crawford's too light in the ass. He put on too much muscle. I mean, come on. How many pamphlets? How large does the index have to be with excuses, man? Before y'all stop taking the coward way out. Man, how can he be coordination wasn't there? Clone, didn't look the same, not normal Spence, looked nauseated, no time and shell of himself. Let's go over here. Beaten with gloves loaded with plaster of Paris. No sparring during camp. Let's talk about the no sparring. This was A&M put out there. A&M, come on, bro. Man, y'all are on record as having some of the worst freaking excuses possible. You was on record as saying he had no sparring during camp. How can you say that with glasses on, focals on? How can you say that? How can you feel good about yourself when it comes to integrity? I'm not saying you're a bad person, but it's idiotic to think that you have two people that follow boxing more than the average timeline, and you go ahead and say he had no sparring during camp. So you're basically putting it out there that his team and his people that surround him would just put him in there with no sparring without even talking to the sparring partner. I spoke to the sparring partner that he was in there with, one of the sparring partners. You know what I'm saying? And you're saying him here saying he literally had no sparring during the camp. He was injured. He had a rib injury, so he had no sparring. That's a lie, bro. It's absolutely a lie. Crawford looked good. Performance not normal. So another excuse they use against Errol Spence is that Crawford looked good because his performance isn't considered normal. So Crawford was having an out-of-body experience to the fact that no one never seen him perform like this. So he had an out-of-body experience, y'all. It was out of body. Seriously, it was out of body, y'all. It wasn't a normal Crawford. Why? Because he's on the radar, but they didn't consider him a threat. That was your biggest mistake. Diddy James, he fucked up, and EJ fucked up. They didn't take Crawford serious enough to be able to go in there and have that strength. Look, I was trying to tell him, people was trying to tell him all over that, man, that dude is something crucial. You know, he was blessed to have that cock diesel strength. He's strong, he's bigger inside than you see from the outside now. He's gonna fuck you up. They was like, man, please. I've been doing this for a long time, man. You know, the pressure that I present in the ring, man, I'm not worried about none of that. I'm stronger than he is. They was talking about how big you look at the pressure, man. They was bigging up Spence, bro. They was bigging up Spence. So that's why when they up here talking about Crawford look good and he beat down their savior, their king, they're saying it more so for a performance enhancing drugs perspective. They're saying he's with the snack program. He had freaking contraband in his gloves. They're not saying that Crawford looked good and they giving him a genuine compliment. They're not giving him a genuine compliment. They say Crawford demanded no drug testing. Crawford demanded no drug testing. So regardless of what Victor Conte said, that it was strenuous drug testing, they say Crawford demanded no drug testing. So Crawford, the undeveloped fighter who hasn't fought the quality or caliber fighters that Errol Spence has, he has to demand the B side. He has to demand that there be no drug testing so he can get juiced up before he go in there July 29th and beat the brakes off this man, right? So they're gonna agree that Crawford gets no drug testing, but Spence did. So Spence was drug tested, strenuous drug test, but Crawford wasn't. So they knew Crawford was on the other side, turning into the Hulk. They knew he was in there glowing. They knew his eyes turned green, and they still let the fight happen the way it did. I got it. They said that Errol Spence had no equilibrium. No equilibrium, y'all. Somebody explain that to me. Because like I said before, he was getting off that canvas pretty damn quick, y'all. Real talk. He was getting off the equilibrium. I mean, he was getting off the canvas very, very quickly, y'all. Am I right or wrong? Was he not getting off the canvas very well? Y'all hold on for a second. All right, we back. And check this out. I love to be taught and I love to do the teaching, right? So, you know, I always get on, you know, Charlo and them for talking down on people and saying, you know, they peasants, subordinates, and just speaking inferior because they feel that's the separation they have when it comes to the status quo, right? So, let me this guy. understand something, because it's so much shit that as long as I've been living that I focus on a lot when it comes to the English language, because it's very important that can pretty much influence people on how they treat you in life and all that, right? And I found out, especially from my own people, that when I'm up here speaking advanced sometime, they would have a problem with it, right? But check this out. This person was up here, and y'all can see it, right? Once I take this down, right? Peep this out. This person told me that it was Spike, out of Spike, Spike. And look, I just let it go. Yeah, I just let it go in the beginning. But this is the word spite, and this is a ill will or hatred toward another, accompanied with the disposition to irritate, annoy, or thwart, a desire to vex or injure, pretty malice or grudge. So to you, Robert, you really need to do your homework, because I'm not the one to sit up here and want to, act like I have to take you back to second or third grade and put you in a desk with a dunce cap in the corner. You know what I'm saying? But before you correct somebody, just do a little bit of research. You have access. You know what I'm saying? You have access. You know what I'm saying? That's you have access, bro. That's like little rudimentary type shit you should know. But back to the game though. They say Crawford demanded no drug testing, no equilibrium, no balance, extreme weight loss. So they were saying that Errol Spence was in here and he didn't have the balance from Crawford landing those punches on him because of the extreme weight loss. They went heavy on they went heavy on the weight loss, and he was weight drained because they are singing in the choir that he's been at 147 too long. But this is the wild part about it. This is the wild part about what they're leaving out, is that this man had 15 months to get that weight off. Did y'all hear me? This man had 15 months to get this weight off. In 15 months, from April 16th to July 29th, he had 15 months to get the weight off. He had 15 months to get the weight off. And they say that man came in there from ballooning up in weight, and he had no balance or equilibrium due to extreme weight loss. I mean, when does the excuses stop, y'all? When does the excuses stop? The man had 15 months to drop the weight with a nutritionist that he was praising of being something that he neglected early on because he didn't feel like that's something he needed. He's been on record as saying he loved being out of pocket. So he wants y'all to sit up here and y'all have done this. Y'all are guilty of this, aerosexuals, of sitting up here clapping your hands and thumping your chest and say, oh man, I love that nigga right there. My nigga, I love you, man. My nigga, I swear to God, you living out of pocket, man. I love that shit, dog. So they'll praise that man for being out of pocket. But when it's time for you to hold him accountable, you making up all these excuses. This man had 15 months with a nutritionist to lose that weight, and he didn't do it, y'all. 15 freaking months, and he did not do it. 15. How many fucking months do you need to get down in weight, man? What can you put on your brain and say, you know what, I need to make this happen? I really do. I need to make this shit happen. I really need to make this shit happen. I need to make this shit happen. I do. I need to make this happen. You didn't have no one-on-ones with yourself. You couldn't find it in meditation. It wasn't nobody with all that money that you say you have. You couldn't find nobody to freaking put you in the right mind state to get you recalibrated and locked back in to lose this weight. Spence at the division too long. Spence was at 147 too long just to pick up 3 belts, right? And he, after the Ugas fight, said what, people? He said, Crawford, I'm coming for that MFing belt. Come on, the hottest chat in the MFing game. Did he not put that out there to Crawford? Did he say something about, oh man, we can fight at 154 for the belts? Is it possible? Did he say anything about being in Division 2 long after he beat Ugas? He said, tell Crawford I'm coming for the MFing belt. So in order for you to come for the MFing belt for Crawford, what division are you fighting in, homie? I just want to know, EJ, what division do you have to fight in? What division were you believing that you would be in when you called out Crawford post-fight for Jordanis Ugas? Please help me out. 38, Bud pulled negotiations, age Spence out in 2022. Even though Bud Crawford is older than Errol Spence, and Bud will be 36 in September. Spence is 33. He turned 33 in January this year. But they're talking about aging. I'm saying the crazy shit they say on Facebook. I'm talking about Facebook and the YTC. I want to make y'all fully aware you have individuals that's roaming amongst you like this. Seriously, you have some weird, strange, eccentric type people whose mental health is in question, who is wandering around making this shit up. They said Bud walking away from negotiations caused Spence, to not just be prepared, to not get what he wants, to not to be coddled last year. They said if he would have fought him last year, then he wouldn't have been in the division any longer. But check this out though. Was he on weight with Spence? You're kind of in the same position now. You get out of the ring in April and you're supposed to fight near the end of the year. I'm curious to know if he's going to fight at the end of this year. It's almost the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Even though April, he would have had a longer period of time. He would have had April to November. Now you're talking about July to December. A lot of people are insinuating that the fight is not going to happen this year due to unforeseen circumstances of Crawford doing that man extremely dirty and showing the world that he is that fighter who take the shit serious. You know what I'm saying? Having pre-camps before the fight camp. You know what I'm saying? They say, but Bud pulled negotiations, age Spence out in 2022. Crawford fought a lesser arrow, y'all. They say Bud fought a lesser arrow. A lesser arrow. They refused to give this man his credit. They did not get enough of that ass whooping themselves, being in person, watching this fight play out at the T-Mobile Arena. They didn't get enough, y'all. Or they did get just enough to the point where they're loopy and punchy, just like their savior, their king, their Lord. I think a lot of these fans are loopy, punchy, and goddamn, they have no idea. They say he fought a lesser arrow, y'all, without giving Crawford his full-blown credit of being a better fighter than Jordanis Ugas. Because Ugas wasn't able to make Spence pay up to the point to make that fight close. He wasn't good enough, but Crawford was good enough to make Spence pay. Crawford was absolutely the higher skilled fighter that was on the radar, but they didn't take the man serious. He showed people not to take important shit for granted ever again in your life. If you're going to be a boxing fan, if you're going to call yourself a hardcore boxing fan, a diehard boxing fan, don't take shit for granted like this no more. Don't sit up here and underestimate a fighter based off a fight 9 years ago. Are you stupid or you just dumb? You're still bringing up Gamboa? Like, look, these fighters have to say to themselves, like, bro, are they stupid? Are they dumb? 9 years ago, people changed. People's lives changed drastically. Real life, outside of boxing. If you take 10 years ago, people say I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago. I'm much more mature. You know what I'm saying? My experience has taught me a lot. But But you're trying to tell me that only pertains to a certain level of individuals? That means when it comes to Bud, when we're looking all the way back, he's the only one that has remained stagnant and idle. He's the one that's been running on the treadmill in life and never made any improvements in his professional career as a boxer. You're trying to tell me to knock the way Gamboa landed that punch on Crawford, it still affects him to this day? And you're trying to say somehow, some way, there's another box rec that said Crawford lost to Gamboa? What the fuck are we talking about, bro? These aerosexuals don't get it. It say, wasn't the arrow that I know, not even close. I've heard people say this, dog. Crawford fought a lesser arrow. That wasn't the arrow that I know. I'm like, okay. At 154, I hope you all have gotten together and you have found the arrow that you know. I hope that the search and rescue team have did an extraction. Like I asked before, I put in my request for them to go out here to this facility 58, area 58, and extract Errol Spence out of that situations to get him ready for this next fight that he has in the rematch. I don't want to hear, wasn't the arrow that I know, not even close. What was the arrow you know? If this arrow was such a behemoth, a Goliath, why wasn't he able to beat down Bud Crawford, who was a smaller fighter? He wasn't shit. Something isn't add up, bro. That's that you saying it wasn't even close. Like if they're talking about this mythological legend, this folklore, why wasn't that folklore able to rise up and show people why people look at him the way they do? They see him as just gigantic, imposing figure. But yet, for a small, light in the ass fighter from Omaha, Nebraska, why wasn't he able to stomp this guy out? Why wasn't he able to put a stop to the second round knockdown and say, you know what? Okay, you caught me slipping. I was taking you light. Let's go. Why wasn't he able to turn it up, man, from the third round to the ninth round? Why wasn't he able to turn up, bro? Spence looked sicker than I ever seen. They say this man looks sick. Did y'all hear what I said? After he passed medicals and everything, they say Spence looks sick than they ever seen him before. This man looks sick. Spence looks sick, y'all. Spence looked sick. No equilibrium, no coordination, reflexes off. The lesser arrow. You know what I'm saying? Stayed at the division too long, weight drain, residual neurological damage, no balance, under the influence of some type of narcotics, conspiracy theory, wasn't a golden child no more. You have to factor all this shit in and know that you have a special group of individual that have a lesser component of mental stability than we operate as Bud Crawford supporters. You have to understand that. So I'm asking you all this in the chat, right? To always stay vigilant and also be willing to help guide these aerosexuals because they need help. They're not the smartest. They need help. And it's up to us to kind of guide them away from the ledge. Guide them, y'all. Educate them. Because they're out here talking about, oh, that's not the Errol Spence I know. They're basically blinded, y'all, based off what they seen in person and what they seen on that screen. They're blinded by the reality of what took place. This man committed the T-Mobile massacre. This man went in here and slaughtered Errol Spence. And he did it with compassion. Because we all know that Crawford could have damn well went in there and got that dude up out of there earlier than the ninth round. We all know that shit. But see, It's something that's maniacal and savage about Crawford because he took that man, he took the 8th round off and he took that man right up to the 9th round and he pretty much unleashed on his ass. He stopped that man a round before he stopped Sean Porter to say, who's a shell of himself now? Huh? I stopped you when I wanted to freaking stop you. I took you to the 9th round and I stopped you when I wanted you to. I stopped you in earlier fashion than Sean Porter. Who's a shell of yourself now? So what he basically did was put that shit to rest. He dead it. He dead the motherfucker. He didn't put it up on a flashcard, but that's exactly what he did. He put that shit to the motherfucking grave. He said, you go around here telling anybody who listened that Sean Porter was a shell of himself when I fought him? Okay, I'm going to show you how much a shell of you are. This man stopped him 1 round less than Sean Porter fight. Isn't that savagery at its best? Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely, y'all. Charlo said round 1 for EJ said he was a dog after getting dropped in the second. I didn't know you had the Mike Tyson package on there. I bet Bomac used what Errol said about Bud doing Bud's training camp to motivate Bud to give 110%. I believe that Bud was self-motivated, and yes, his trainers, Toby, yeah, I do agree with, they did harvest that. You know what I'm saying, Toby? They did harvest that shit, bro. They did use it. You know what I'm saying? They let them know, hey, this what they saying about you, Bud. You know what I'm saying? This what they saying about you, man. Because he can't see everything. The man got to pay attention and stay locked down, dialed in to his training. So every now and then, Bomac might have been the only one that can present that negative information to him. And he didn't get pissed off about it, on the person that sent them, the messenger. Jessica said Kell Brook and Sean Porter wasn't the same since Spence fought them. Spence was that guy. That's what they said. But see, when Bud Crawford fight these undefeated fighters, they say the fighter was trash. But when Errol Spence fight these fighters that's supposed to be a notable name, what they say, Jessica? They say, oh man, just because they fought Errol Spence, they was never the same. They was never the same, y'all. And the wild part about, it being never the same is how quickly they switch it up when it comes to Crawford defeating top tier opponents with undefeated records. How they said Julius Ndongo had all these multiple losses after Crawford, but they didn't say, oh, he was never the same. They said Julius Ndongo was trash to begin with. They say, oh man, look at Gamboa. Gamboa had all these losses now. He was trash to begin with. Not the fact that Crawford, oh, he was never the same when Crawford beat him. It's hypocrisy at its best, man. At its highest point. For real. Nelly Content, what's good? Salute to you, brother. I get it. These EJ fans are on something, but I'm not one of them. Shout out to Shaw News, the Sauce Experience, AK Showtime Shaw on deck, man. What's good with it, brother? Team Tucker official in the building. Facts, he loaded his gloves in a room filled with Nevada State Athletic Commission inspectors. These dudes are boxing fools. So there was inspectors in there, huh? Wow. I wonder what they was inspecting. Because per the aerosexuals, Crawford, who wraps his own hands, he might have dipped into the bathroom just a little bit and came back out and both his hands was wrapped. I don't know. As long as they seen him go into the bathroom with no contraband, they couldn't say without a shadow of a doubt that he had contraband. But I agree with you, bro. What a bunch of fools, man. Don't forget his baby mama slipped him something in his drink. They got into an argument. I know, man. She was still pissed off about that TikTok video, and they say it was always a vendetta out that she had against Spence. You right about that. I didn't even think about that. You know what I'm saying? She still had it out for that nigga for real. But she put on a good front though, because when he was on the rocks with AO, you didn't see any type of body language that gives me the impression that she was still out for that nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's a good point you bring up, man. You ruffling some shit. You're causing the dust up now. Why would you do such? Shout out to Andrew Charles in the building, man. What's good with Andrew on deck? I know what's wrong with Spence. He was getting his ass kicked in front of everybody. Nobody looks good in that scenario. Hey, talk your shit, Andrew. You know what I'm saying? Nobody looks good in that scenario when it comes to the person who's getting the ass whooping. You ain't lying. The outlaw pugilist, salute WCS in the chat. Shout out to the outlaw on deck in the building. You know what I'm saying? They just can't believe that someone with a 0.5 resume beat their man's. Come on, a 0.5, dog. And this is what I'm talking about, right? I'm saying if you got a 0.5, why wasn't this fighter that you say that didn't look like the normal, didn't look like the regular Errol Spence, why wasn't a person that made that declaration able to transform himself? If Crawford turned into the Hulk and he was going off all this freaking juice and this snack product with loaded gloves, he came in there like a Marvel comic. Why didn't Errol Spence follow the same shit? Why he didn't prepare himself? Why? You the one said the man had a 0.5 resume. Why couldn't you come in there and just totally make him seem like that was true? Why, Spence? Why you couldn't prove to the world that what you said, you was on point with it? They thought that the guy had stopped every opponent he's faced in the division, had zero chance of even hurting Spence. Man, real talk, man. They didn't give that man minimal credit. 0.5? Man, he thought this was a game. For real, he thought this was a game, man. You know what I'm saying? CMD Boxing Reports, what's good? He said he didn't look the same after the fight because Crawford rearranged that face. He did. He made him look different. You know what I'm saying? In a politer term, CMD, he made him look different. He looked different. You know what I'm saying? He looked different. I ain't lying. He looked different, bro. If he had Tank's nutritionist, then the rumors about him getting Calvin Ford to train him for the rematch might just be true. I haven't even got to that yet. I seen you drop that. I haven't even got to that yet. I got to catch up in the chat. It may be some truth to the edible story. I was once high for 25 hours after edible. I believe you, Errol. You was high for 25 hours. That was some good shit, boy. Smoke Session WCS with the hot grease. Man, salute to Smoke Session Sports and Entertainment on deck in the building. What's good with it? Appreciate everyone for pulling up. Make sure you hit the like button on deck. You know what I'm saying? If anything, EJ had a bootleg camp. Man, he said it was bootleg. Sitting in front of the fan when it's 110 degrees out. Meanwhile, Bud in the state-of-art gyms. Hey, Jay is on to something. Jay is on to something, bro. You know what I'm saying? Jay is on to something. You know what I'm saying? He brought the old school term up, bootleg. So how in the hell, Jay, you gonna call that shit bootleg just because that man had a motherfucking window fan, an oversized window fan blowing the heat out into the heat? How is that considered bootleg when you got a window fan blowing the heat out of the furniture store into the damn environment? Why don't you have some type of AC in that bitch? Oh, that costs money. And you ain't trying to really spend that type of money in there. And look, Jay, another thing I need to ask this question. It feels 150 degrees in that motherfucking furniture store. How did you have problems losing weight? Oh, I figured it out. That's when he was in the parking lot. He said, I did 10 extra minutes in that motherfucking furniture store that was 150 degrees. I did 10 more minutes that I could stand. And then I bounced, dog. I bounced. He did 10 more minutes of freaking cardio to try to burn off some fat in that goddamn hot ass gym. I get it. Think or stink on deck. I see you. What's good with it, brother, in the building? He kept getting up too fast. He should have took these 8 counts. No, Jessica. Don't start doing what the aerosexuals do now. Come on, man. When I seen him get off the canvas, he was swift. It was expeditiously, and I was impressed. I was impressed now that he was able to get off the canvas as quick as he did. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Even though when he got up, he was doing, you know what I'm saying, the ATL slide. He was doing, you know, I heard a content creator on here to say that Errol Spence was gonna have Terrence Crawford doing the dance as well. Now, you remember that knockdown 68 iPad? You remember when you said that, huh? You said that Errol Spence was gonna have Terrence Crawford doing a dance that wasn't even out yet. Shout out to Mr. Gumbo, aka Hot Grease on deck. What it do, my brother? Salute to you. Salute WCS, my big bro in the chat. What's good with it, Gumbo? How you feeling, brother? You know what I'm saying? What's going on this Sunday? Carlos say the aerosexuals can laugh, they can cry, but Bud is winning the rematch. And that's no lie. 2 times undisputed, pound for pound. No matter the date, no matter the round, eventually Arrow is going down. Hashtag Bud. Hashtag easy work. And for Robert, who's still in there, goddamn Carlos spelled work with a U. And I still know what he was talking about, goddamn it. So take your petty non-English having ass somewhere else. Hey, man, well said. Well said. Hot grease, man. I got to read it again. The aerosexuals can laugh, they can cry, but Bud is winning the rematch. And that's no lie. 2-time undisputed. Pound for pound, no matter the date, no matter the round. Eventually, Arrow is going down. Hashtag Bud, hashtag easy work. You feel me? Hashtag easy work. For those of you that don't understand acronyms, it's with an echo and with the Zulu. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that, Carlos. You know what I'm saying? Dropping that gem. Gumbo said it's hard to fix stupid, but it's extremely frustrating and hard to fix stupid on purpose. Damn. Man, how dare you call these aerosexuals stupid? How dare you, man? Key on deck, what's good with it? We up to 41 excuses. You probably can go to infinity. Oh, it's a lot more in there. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't want to have a whole laundry list on here of dirty laundry. I consider that to be dirty laundry. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind doing laundry, but that right there is considered dirty laundry. And you know what happens when you keep dirty laundry around? You know what I'm saying? Too much of it. It start to stink the place up. You feel me? It start to get funky. Then you have to look at people and say, hey, man, you know, what you got going on? You washed? What's going on? You wash? You goddamn wash your ass? I mean, what's going on? You need some soap? What's good? We can't go on around here, you know, smelling like this. 15.5 months to get the weight off with his team making the offer. Al Heyman, Grand Poobah of boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? He had 15.5. What? See, y'all are up here coming up with exacts that rhyme with facts. And that's not something that they like, especially when you black. You know what I'm saying? Stop doing this, man. So let me get to what Blunt sent me on the back end, because to me, you know, I just feel it's something that I should just pretty much lead to another live, because this live is just saturated with something else. You know what I'm saying? So Blunts, that's why I haven't really spoken on it, because I didn't really want to talk about. You gotta understand, you know, if I put this in the middle, it's a 2-hour live. If I bring that up now, right? It gets lost in the trash, you know what I'm saying, of all the excuses in this live stream. So I'm gonna save it to another live, because I think it's really good content to talk about on another live. This is 2-hour live, and if I put this in here, really it's like, come on, man, like that's something I really want to talk about, because I said it, I put it out there. I said he needs to leave. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate Blunts for you know, that soldier behind the scene, man. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta definitely talk about that on a whole nother live, brother. You know, this is all about the excuses. This is all about the excuses. And that is different. That's talking about the rematch. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave that for a whole nother live. But I appreciate you, bro. Salute to you. I want to give a big shout out and salute to the hottest chat in the MF game. Salute to y'all, man. Y'all been great as always. A-side official. You already know. Until next time, man, y'all hold it down and continue to support the channel. We shall do it again. I'm out.
Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports.